Do that dance. Do that dance. Stiff hips. Stiff hips.
Hey.
All right.
This song was made for people with stiff hips.
Yes, it is.
Drop one of the clues bombs for everybody out there with stiff hips, man. Everybody can't have the WD-40 loose hips, all right?
Jesus.
Okay?
All right. Well, let's get into front page news. Good morning, Teslin Figaro. How you feeling?
I'm feeling well. Good morning, DJ Envy. Charlamagne the God was good, homie. We're ready to go.
Tez.
All right. Well, let's start off with some sports. All right. Last night, the 76ers beat the Celtics. They lead the series 3-2. I don't think anybody's seen that one.
No, I didn't see that game. I was out.
And also, I mean, seeing that the 76ers were winning like that. That's what I mean. Not actually seeing the game. I think people thought Celtics was going to beat them.
No, I could have seen the Sixers winning. I could see the Sixers winning that series. Joel Embiid is the MVP. James Harden showing up. I can see that.
And also, the Nuggets beat the Suns last night, 118-102. I don't think anybody's seen that one as well.
I definitely didn't see that game. No, I thought.
I mean, the Suns.
No, I thought the Nuggets would win that series.
Really?
Absolutely, 100%.
All right. Well, Teslin, let's talk about Donald Trump. What's going on with Trump?
Yes, in less than 3 hours, a federal jury of 6 men and 3 women in New York found former President Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing and forcibly touching 79-year-old E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s. Trump was also found liable for defaming the writer last fall when he accused her of lying. The jury awarded Carroll $5 million in punitive damages. And of course, Trump said he will appeal the decision. Take a listen to what he had to say. We'll talk about it on the other side.
I don't even know who this woman is. I have no idea who she is, where she came from. This is another scam. It's a political witch hunt. And somehow we're going to have to fight this stuff. We cannot let our country go into this abyss. This is disgraceful. You have somebody running for office. You have a woman that's financed and lied about it. She totally lied about it by Democrat operatives like just about the biggest one there is, and she said that wasn't true. They found that she lied about it, and the judge wasn't even, I guess, letting it be put in as evidence. The whole thing is a scam.
I don't know what's true and what's not true. I just know that people say things like Donald Trump was, found guilty, but I don't think none of it's going to matter because Trump is going to change the temperature of everything probably today with something because he's just got too much going on. He's been charged in New York by Alvin Bragg. He's got charges in Georgia, potential federal charges. I think all of this just keeps making Trump bigger, and he can always say they can't beat me straight up, so they keep throwing this BS at me.
Well, that was a civil case, but let me ask you a question. It was over 30 years that this incident happened, right? Mm-hmm. So how do they still, and I'm confused, I'm taking it out of Donald Trump. I'm just talking about the time. How do they still find the evidence 30 years later to see that, or the witnesses? And, I could barely remember something that happened 5 years ago. So it seems 30 years seems like a long time.
Right. Well, it is a long time. But then when we look at civil cases versus criminal cases, the standard is low. It's not the same. So we remember when O.J. Simpson in the 90s, when O.J. Simpson was acquitted of a criminal charge, he was charged on the civil side. Mm-hmm. So the evidence that is required to charge you civilly is on the civil side is not the same. And then also, they used Trump's words from the Grab 'em by the P video, mm-hmm. Where they actually admitted that into evidence. They will be trying to appeal that because they said his attorney said they should have never admitted it in the first place, but they did admit that video, and they had him saying that he believes he's a celebrity and he believes you really can grab him by the P. So they used his own words to help charge him on this side as well. And then they had a couple of witnesses as well. They had some other witnesses that also said they too have been abused by Trump. So mm-hmm. again, just like Charlamagne was saying, it's this, and then still the other cases, the Alvin Bragg, the January 6th, the Mar-a-Lago with the classified documents, all of these things combined will continue to keep giving him a hard time. But keep in mind, guys, he can still run for office and still win.
He will.
With all of these charges. And
I'm sure he's going to raise a whole bunch of money. The classified documents, though, they're not going to mess with him with that because President Biden had those too.
Everybody has.
Too many people had those.
Yeah.
He threw those out the window, it seemed like.
Now, George Santos, he's being charged, right?
Yeah, George Santos is also being charged. During his brief time in office, Santos has been accused of breaking campaign finance laws, violating federal conflict of interest laws, stealing cash meant for an Iraq war veterans dying dog. Damn, who steals from the dog? Masterminding a credit card fraud scheme. Yeah, let me back that up. He stole cash that was meant for an Iraq war veterans dying dog. So he stole from the poor little dying dog. He masterminded a credit card fraud scheme and lying about where he went to school and worked. Santos is expected to appear in federal court today in New York's Eastern District, where the charges have been filed under seal.
What's wrong with him stealing from the dying dog, though? I mean, all dogs go to heaven, right? All dogs go to heaven. So if you know that, if you know all dogs going to heaven, why not just take the cash?
Probably it was the money for the dog's procedure or something like that. I'm sure it was something like that. Like the dog that just didn't have a savings account.
How much was it?
I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. It really don't matter. Dude, he stole from the dying dog.
I just think it's so strange when people leave money to their pets. Like, come on, man.
We've had this conversation before.
It's stupid.
I'm telling you,
so stupid.
White people love their little dogs, and they leave millions and billions of dollars to their dogs.
What do they know about their pets that we don't know?
I don't
For real? Like, do the pets shapeshift to something? Do they turn to humans at a certain point, and they're gonna need some cash?
I will say with this one, they raise money for it. So anytime you raise money saying you're getting it for one thing and you do something else, that's called a crime. So that's what's happening with him. But again, as a reminder, he still can keep his seat in Congress as well. So.
All right.
There's no standard no more.
None.
There's no standard.
It feels like there's only a standard in entertainment. In all the places that matter, like politics, there's no standard. But you mess up in entertainment, then you're out of here. But you mess up in politics, it's like, it's nothing. Keep it moving.
Right.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Tesla Figaro, we'll see you in some minutes to talk about some more stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. And don't forget, Bishop T.D. Jakes is joining us this morning. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. All right, let's get in some front page news. Tesla Figaro is back with us. Good morning, Tez.
The Hood Whisperer.
Good morning.
Start off with some quick sports. Last night, the 76ers beat the Celtics 115-103. They lead the series 3-2. And the Denver Nuggets beat the Suns 118-102. They lead that series 3-2. The Knicks play tonight. I don't know if I'm going to go to that in the game. I want to go to that game. I think I might take my son to that game. Now, let's start off with Tucker Carlson. Now, he's launching his own show now on Twitter.
Yes, after being fired from Fox News last month, Tucker Carlson announced that he will relaunch his program on Twitter. Check out what he had to say. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others.
Well, last night that video had 17 million. Guess what it went to this morning? 73 million views.
Wow.
So when you look at his old show that only had maybe about 2 or 3 million viewers, this is reaching the world literally overnight.
I mean, is he doing it in conjunction with Twitter? Like, I don't
know if it's a partnership with Twitter or he's just launching it on Twitter. He just announced, he just put the video out. I watched it from beginning to end. So he didn't talk about, the operational side of it. Mm-hmm. But what I found interesting is he may possibly lose 20 million that he was expected to get from Fox. So depending on that non-compete, like, will they look at that as another network? Will they look at that as, kind of doing the same thing he was doing on Fox? But he's willing to walk away from the bag, allegedly, to get his voice out. I don't see him sitting out this election season.
No.
I think this is all about him wanting to continue his message, get it out. And Twitter is the place, obviously, with Elon Musk kind of letting things just, run wild on Twitter. This is the place that he thinks he can do it.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson definitely has his own audience. And I think enough people will follow him that he can make a living. But it's interesting with those conservative talking heads, right? Like the Glenn Becks of the world, the Bill O'Reillys, the Tucker Carlsons, they always end up going to launch like their own show, via their own platform in some way, but they never seem to have that same energy.
Impact, right?
Yeah, because O'Reilly is still out here with his platform. Glenn Beck is still out here, but it never seems to hit the same as it did when they were on Fox.
Mm.
Yeah, I also think when they launched, it took a minute for them to kind of get stuff together. I didn't see this happening as fast. Do you remember it? Because to me, this is like immediately. And they didn't have access to a Twitter to do something like this. So I see him moving a lot faster, trying to keep his folks engaged, where O'Reilly and all of those guys took a little while for them to get set up, and kind of get their show going.
And that's part of it. Like you said, people say out of sight, out of mind. I mean, he's going right from Fox to right to his own platform. He's continuing the conversation, and he's, I guess, trying to take his fans, his loyal fans with him.
Because Glenn Beck launched a whole network. Remember, it was the Blaze Network. I mean, that's where the infamous Tommy Lauren came from. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't even know what happened to that.
It also wasn't in the middle of campaign season, so the environment has a lot to do with it as well. We're literally in the middle of former President Donald Trump fighting 5 cases at one time. So I agree with you, Charlamagne. Fox is the machine that makes the shows what they are. But I do think in this case, he'll be able to create a little bit of noise on Twitter, very different than those other guys.
Word.
Now let's talk about this woman who wrote a book about grief after her husband died. Now she's charged with his murder?
Yes. After Corey Richens' husband, Eric, died suddenly last year, she wrote a children's book that said she wanted to help her 3 boys with the process of grief, letting them know that their father will always be with them. A little over 2 months since the book Are You With Me was published, Miss Richens, 33, was charged with murdering her husband by poisoning him with 5 times the lethal dosage of fentanyl at their home outside Park City, Utah. Now, the medical examiner concluded that the fentanyl had been ingested orally. The investigation determined that she made her husband a cocktail the night before and he passed away. The investigation found communications with a drug dealer of her asking for some of the Michael Jackson stuff. And they found, her husband. They also found out that her husband told his friends that he thought she was trying to kill him. This is like that dentist story. Do y'all remember?
What was the dentist story? I forgot.
Remember the dentist that killed his wife, and she told everyone, it was a couple of months back. She told everyone, hey, I think he's trying to kill me, and then he made her a drink, and then she died. I mean, this is like literally the same thing.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. That Michael Jackson stuff is no joke. Okay, when I went to go get my colonoscopy, and when I got my endoscopy, and they hit me with that Michael Jackson stuff, I'm not going to front. I asked the doctor, I said, man, can I get some of this?
You stupid.
To go home? And her exact words to me was like, no, this that Michael Jackson stuff.
Yeah, no, it does put you out, and when you wake up, there's no drowsiness. You just feel refreshed.
It's the best sleep ever, and I need some because I only had 10 hours of sleep in the past 2 days.
Man. I'll give you something to put you to sleep.
Shut up.
On here soliciting for drugs, Charlamagne.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, when y'all say that Michael Jackson stuff, that's another reason to go get your colonoscopy. It's worth it. When you get that hit with that, when you get hit with that dose and you out, oh Lord, tell me I'm lying, Envy.
No, it was amazing.
This story was supposed to be about the sympathy of the guy dying, not an opportunity to do an advertisement for the solicitation of drugs.
You're right. God bless that brother.
All right.
God bless that
and
brother.
His wife's in jail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's in jail.
She was arrested.
Okay. All right. Well, that is front page news.
And
Thank you, Tez.
Yes, make sure you subscribe to Tez and Figaro's podcast, the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. And Tez, are you talking about dating this week?
Yes, I am. I'm talking about how we need to be dated, courted, engaged as Black voters from the politicians. So just kind of going off of the conversation, would you date a bus driver? I want to know, are politicians dating us and what we should be looking for? Drops this Thursday.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Tez. We'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, when we come back, the Bishop T.D. Jakes will be joining us.
You see this book is called Disruptive Thinking, man. It's a daring strategy to change how we live, lead, and love. It is a fantastic read from one of the greatest orators and communicators of our time, Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he'll be joining us next.
All right. And Jess Hilarious. We did the interview yesterday. Jess Hilarious was with us as well.
That's right.
We'll get into that next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.